Welcome back, and today is the day that we do the July reading wrap-up. So these are all of the books that I read in July and my thoughts on them. So getting started, the first book that I read this month was The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart, and I kind of did start off on a bad foot this month because I actually DNF'd this book, so technically I didn't read it, but I have watched the Disney Plus show, and that was really good. The reason that I actually DNF'd this was because it was so accurate that I got bored because I already knew what happened. But overall, since I did watch the show and it was so accurate, I went ahead and rated it 4 stars. And this is actually funny because I actually own the entire series now, and I DNF'd the first one. So that is a little bit sad, but it's okay. Also, I did not read just a little bit of books this month. I actually read a lot of books this month. The stack just goes off camera, so that's why you can't see them. The next book that I read this month was Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. And Carve the Mark is pretty much a sci-fi fantasy-ish. We're gonna ignore the fact I completely forgot what this is about because I read this at the beginning of the month. This was the first book I actually finished this month. So let me just read you the back because I kind of forgot what this book was about a little bit. Syra and Akos grew up in enemy countries on a vibrant yet divided planet. Syra's ability to transfer extraordinary pain with a simple touch makes her a dangerous weapon for her tyrannical brother. When Akos is kidnapped and forced to serve Syra, it's clear that their hatred is mutual. But as Akos fights for his survival in enemy territory, he recognizes that Syra is also fighting for hers, and that her true gift, resilience, might be what saves them both. Their world is on the brink of political chaos, and Akos and Syra must decide if they will fight for what's right, even if it means betraying their families and countries. So, this was kind of cringy, as you could tell by the back. It was a bit cringy, but overall, it was a good story. I just think Veronica made it a little bit less cringy, but it's okay. It was actually very good. The plot was good. I did get bored a couple times, but that's to be expected. You have to have, in between big things happening, you have to have a little bit of downtime, and I ended up rating this book 3.5 stars because I got bored a couple times. A couple times I did have to force myself to pick it up, but overall it was actually a pretty good book, but also Divergent will always reign supreme over this. The next book that I read this month was The Giver by Lewis Lowry, and I actually read this for a collab. The video is coming soon. I have to figure out some editing things right now, and then don't worry, the collab will be up soon. I'm going to figure out who that is with. But this is pretty much, they have perfected society. You have no freedom or creativity. So it was really good. I actually ended up rating this 5 stars. So let me read you the back. And also, that ending had me my jaw was on the floor. I'm okay, what actually happened? What? Anyway, so let me read you the back now and get off this little tangent I'm on. Life in the community where Jonas lives is idyllic. Designated birth mothers produce new children who are assigned to appropriate family units, 1 male, 1 female to each. Citizens are assigned their partners and their jobs. No one thinks to ask questions. Everyone obeys. The community is a precisely choreographed world without conflict, inequality, divorce, unemployment, injustice, or choice. Everyone is the same, except Jonas. At the ceremony of 12, the community's 12-year-olds eagerly accept their predetermined life assignments. But Jonas is chosen for something special. He begins instruction in his life's work with a mysterious old man known only as the Giver. Gradually, Jonas learns that power lies in feelings, but when his own power is put to the test, when he must try to save someone he loves, he may not be ready. Is it too soon or too late? And honestly, I went into this book not knowing much about it, besides just the back, and I'm glad I did because this was amazing. And do not look it up too much before you read it because you're going to spoil some stuff, but this was so good and I rated it 5 stars. So this was one of my first 5 stars of the month. But yeah, the next book that I read, which I also rated 5 stars, and they just had a TV show come out about it not long ago, and I absolutely loved it so much. And what was that ending? Oh my goodness. Was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And look at these pages. First of all, I got this from my local Goodwill, and it's kind of like torn up, but the words were fine, so I was fine. But also look at all these spine cracks. I was a bit sad because of that, but the words were there, so I was fine. And this is so good. So I went into this also knowing like almost nothing. So you go into this knowing almost nothing. I actually watched the trailer, and that's how it got me interested, but the trailer also didn't explain much, just like the back of this book doesn't explain much. But let me read the back of this book to you. If anyone asks you how it ends, just lie. We are Sinclairs. We live, at least in the summertime, on a private island off the coast of Massachusetts. Perhaps that is all you need to know, except that some of us are liars. I absolutely loved this book, and it was so good, and it was such a good summer psychological thriller mystery, and I loved it so much. It's first person, and it's like this rich family. They live on an island every summer, and there's like this big accident that happened, and the main character's trying to figure out what happened, and nobody's telling her. So that's pretty much what that was, and I really don't want to spoil that for you because it was like so good. The next book up that I also rated 5 stars. I really need to be more picky about how I'm rating these books, but it's okay. I also read this for a collab. This is Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch, and this is a little mystery romance, a little mystery YA clean romance that was set in Florence, Italy, and the main character, Lena, I believe, yes, she was trying to figure out the history of her mom because apparently her dad lived around Florence, Italy, and she's trying to figure out about her past. Her mom never really told her about her dad, and she's trying to figure out all that, and then she's given a journal that her mom had while she was there, and she's figured out a bunch of stuff. And then this local dude ends up helping her try to figure out what happened to her mom and all that. So yeah, it was really good. I ended up rating it 5 stars, and I think this is actually a trilogy of abroad romances. It's Love and Gelato, Love and Luck, and Love and Olives, I believe, and I really like this. The next book that I read, which you can probably see down here, and this book is very popular. This is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, and this is a little high school romance that I'm also reading for the collab. And pretty much this girl grew up with her mom always watching like rom-coms, and so she always had like really high standards and everything, and she always thought that she was gonna end up having like a cute meet cute and everything. And so her mom dies, and this dude that she had liked had moved away, but now he's moving back, and so she's trying to get her next door neighbor Wes to help her get set up with the dude she's had a crush on for years. And she then starts to realize that, you know, maybe the dude who just maybe her longtime crush isn't the better choice. The next book I read, which I absolutely loved, I have not read a apocalyptic story since literally middle school, and The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. So it's pretty much aliens take over the world pretty much, but they've never actually seen an alien, and it's very hard to explain. Like, it's very, very hard to explain. Like, I did not know what this was about. There's also a movie about this. So if you want to know what this book is about, I'm suggesting you just watch the trailer of the movie, because I do not know how to describe this book to you. But pretty much the aliens have been attacking in waves. So I can't really say much more without spoiling it, but it was so good. It was a thriller, apocalyptic, sci-fi, end of the world, and I literally read this almost in one day. I read this in 2 days, and this honestly might be one of my 6-star books because it was so good. The next book that I read, we're getting more into the fantasy now. Wow. the majority of what I read this month wasn't fantasy. Usually I read like completely only fantasy, but the next book that I read was House of Ash and Shadow by Leah Stone, and this book is very dark academia. So pretty much this girl, she has always grown up, anytime anyone touches her, she feels excruciating pain, and it's like terrible pain. She'll always like just start like writhing on the floor and everything. Then when she goes and gets this healer for her dad, when her dad is like about to die from this infection, she gets like this healer from the Fae city, because she's outside of the city living with all the powerless Fae. Fae is like fairies, pretty much. That's pretty much what they are. In case you didn't know that, that's what Fae is. They're like fairies. So she goes and gets this healer Fae who's gonna do this for free from the academy, that's like trains them in their abilities. And when the healer is healing her dad, he ends up like accidentally like brushing her arm, and she doesn't feel excruciating pain, so she's like, what in the world, like this is crazy. Like she had never felt human touch without pain accompanying it, and so she's just like, what? And then she ends up getting brought to this, she has like powers emanating from her, and so a bunch of other stuff happens. She ends up actually going to this academy and figuring out all about her lineage, and it's crazy. Yeah, that's about all I'm gonna say, because that was honestly more than I knew about this book when I read it, and it's so good. I loved it. 5 stars, actually. Yeah, that book was also 5 stars because it was so good. And that ending, I need the next 2 books in the series. This is actually a trilogy, and they're all already out. The next book that I read, which sadly, the next book isn't out yet, and I'm so upset because of that, because of the ending, oh my goodness, was A Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. And this book, oh my goodness. So, concept was a little bit dumb at times, because it's pretty much dragons and humans are trying to live in peace, and they can learn each other's languages, okay? That's about most of it, but let me read you the inside just so you get the gist of this. London, 1923, dragons soar through the skies and protests erupt on the streets. But Vivian Featherswallow isn't worried. She's going to follow the rules, get a summer internship studying dragon languages, be smart, be sweet, and make sure her little sister never ever has to risk growing up 3rd class. She just has to free one dragon. By midnight, Viv has started a civil war. With her parents and cousin arrested and her sister missing, Viv is brought to Bletchley Park as a codebreaker. If she succeeds, she and her family can all go home again. If she doesn't, they'll all die. As Viv begins to discover the secrets of a hidden dragon language, she realizes that the fragile peace treaty that holds human and dragon societies together is corrupt, and the dangerous work Viv is doing could be the thread that unravels it. So pretty much, if she does what the government wants her to do, her family will survive, but literally all the humans could die, because then you would start a whole dragon human war. So that's pretty much it. And so pretty much either way, somebody's gonna die, and she's trying to figure out what to do, and she's around all these other code breakers and like people that are trying to figure out these things about the dragons. So yeah, that's about what that is about. And the next book, which is called A War of Wyverns or something like that, it does not come out till January, so I'm really waiting for that book, and I'm so excited for that book, and I cannot wait, and I'm so excited. And this book I also rated 5 stars. It was so good. The next book I read, which I actually read this in one day, was Spectacular, which is the holiday novella in the Caraval series, and this is actually the special edition, and this was really good. It was a little cringy and childish at some points, but it was the holiday novella, and it's the special edition, so it has like art. See, like there's art all throughout it like this. There's illustrations, and it's so pretty. It's pretty much just, I think it's after the whole Caraval series, but I'm not sure if it's between them. I'm pretty sure it's after all of them, and it's pretty much just her trying to figure out what to get her dude for Christmas. That's pretty much it. And he like is like super powerful, so she's like, what do I get him? I don't know. So that's pretty much what that is about. The last book that I read this month was The Prison Healer. Okay, so like, let me read you the inside of this book. Oh my goodness, the jacket's coming out. Let me read you the inside of this book though. Here at Zalendal, the only person you can trust is yourself. 17-year-old Kiva Meriden has spent the last 10 years fighting for survival in the notorious death prison Zalendal, working as the prison healer. When the rebel queen is captured, Kiva is charged with keeping the terminally ill woman alive long enough for her to undergo the trial by ordeal, a series of elemental challenges against the torments of fire, air, water, and earth, assigned to only the most dangerous of criminals. Then a coded message from Kiva's family arrives, containing a single order: "Don't let her die, we are coming." Aware that the trials will kill the sickly queen, Kiva risks her own life and volunteers in her place. If she succeeds, both she and the queen will be granted their freedom, but no one has ever survived. With an incurable plague sweeping Zalendal, a mysterious new inmate fighting for Kiva's heart, and a prison rebellion brewing, Kiva can't escape the terrible feeling that her trials have only just begun. And there were so many good twists and turns and character growth in this book, and I absolutely love it. And this is actually also the first book in a trilogy, and I need the next two. This was so good. Okay, so I technically finished this in the morning of August 1st, but you know, it was before the sun was up, and it was at like 2:50 a.m. So I'm not counting that. I'm saying I still finished this in July, even though some people are probably gonna say, no, I finished this in August, but too bad, the sun wasn't up. It was still August technically. This is the gigantic stack of books that I read this month. So I read 10 books this month, and they were all pretty good, and a lot of them actually ended up being 5 stars. And yeah, they were really good actually. Had a very good reading month besides the start off of DNFing, the first book I picked up. But anyway, those were all really good, and thank you so much if you've made it this far in the video. Don't forget to like, and if you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video.